Now we've worked with just a slab of Tyvek. Now it's time to maybe try some different shapes, be a little bit more sophisticated with how we use the Tyvek. So these are some shapes that I've just cut with non-dressmaking scissors, just a couple of discs and a few little strips with wiggly edges. Again, this is the heavyweight Tyvek. I never work with both weights at the same time, because if I waited for the heavier Tyvek to texture, the lightweight Tyvek would have disappeared in that time. So this is the heavier weight Tyvek. So I'm just going to kiss, stroke and caress, just very little pressure onto the discs. You can see that they're just starting to move. So these are some quite sweet little discs, and obviously you can turn them over again. You can do all kinds of things. You can try and get circles, although I'm never particularly patient enough. So you can get little medallions to hang down onto your work. I wouldn't machine stitch into textured Tyvek, but you could hand stitch into it with a good big pointy needle. So I've turned it over a couple of times. You can also foil this. You can do all kinds of things. So you can see that we've got some different shapes there that should become much more interesting. And I do particularly like the metallic paint. It works very nicely. If I take it off of my hands and onto the white baking parchment, you can see it a bit better. So these are the strips that I've got now. And again, I'm kissing, stroking and caressing. I'm not applying any pressure at all. Just let the heat build up. There we go. They're moving very fast, as you can see. It's like it's alive. You can almost hear it squealing. Tyvek won't stick to Tyvek, so don't try and do that, because that way lies madness. And don't ever try to get a piece of Tyvek the same as another piece, because it won't happen. So just take off the top piece of baking parchment, and then you can see your little textures, which are quite fun. Now, obviously, I need to add some more heat here to stop this kind of big, heavy ending there. But it's quite fun. You can start to play with pieces. You could, if these were the same color as a piece of Bonder web that you'd painted, it would make an interesting piece of work to stitch over. I'm just going to turn these over and work from the bubbly side, and I'll pay a bit more attention to these edges here. Again, kissing, stroking, no pressure whatsoever. Otherwise the Tyvek can't move. I think there's a few bubbles bursting there. There we go. That'll do. So we've got the textured pieces here, and they're quite stiff, they're quite firm. You can still bend them, but I certainly wouldn't, as I say, put them through the sewing machine. Unless you have shares in a machine needle company, I wouldn't even begin to think about it. So do think about the different kinds of shapes that you can create, rather than just using a square piece of Tyvek. But I'm going to show you how to make a bowl now with Tyvek, because it's a thermoplast. You can heat it, and then while it's hot, it will keep its shape. So that's a thermoplast product, and it's great fun. So what you need is your Pyrex bowl, and you will need a suede glove, not a rubber glove or a plastic glove or anything like that. So you need a suede glove if you're going to do this. You're not going to burn your hands, but it's just best to be careful. So here I have a Pyrex bowl with a reasonably steep side, nothing too wide open. You need something reasonably steep. I've got a glove to put onto my ironing hand. So I'll use my left hand to iron, and then with the glove on, I'll pick up the Tyvek and pop it into the bowl. You do need to be careful. You don't have to wear a glove, but it can be quite hot. And if you've got sensitive skin, you might just burn yourself. It's unlikely, but I have to show you good practice, so therefore I am. You need to keep the bowl very close by. This is a piece of fabric weight Tyvek, so it will move very fast. I'm going to put my glove on my left hand. That's my ironing hand. So what we'll need to do is put the iron down and pick up the Tyvek while it's hot. So it's quite a fast movement. So you need to make sure you've got a safe place where you can pop the iron down really quickly. It's not going to get in the way of anything. So the bowl is handy. I'm just going to start to warm up the Tyvek and start to build up the texture. Going quite fast, as you can see. So again, we're kissing, we're stroking, and we're caressing. This lighter weight fabric will obviously move much, much faster. So you have to be very quick, and it will shrink very quickly too. So I'm just going to turn over so that it's got texture on both sides, because obviously you can see inside the bowl as well as the side of the bowl. So I'm just going to add a little bit more texture on the parts of the Tyvek that haven't quite got textured yet. It's moving very fast. So I'm just generally heating it up now. Just generally heating it up, and then quickly put that down, pick that up and pop it in the bowl. All the time you're doing that, it's cooling down. So you need to be very fast. And what you can do, if you have stacking bowls, is put another bowl inside. Now what will happen is you will get creases, because obviously this isn't an exact size. I haven't cut little gussets in it or anything, so you will get pleats, but I kind of quite like that, and it also strengthens the bowl. So I'll just leave that to cool down a minute. It's quite nice through the glass, doesn't it? I do love Tyvek. It's just the most wonderful texture. It's just finding ways to use it in your work, unless you're just going to celebrate it for itself. I'll just take my glove off. So you've got your little bowl. Cheers. It's quite three-dimensional now, but it is quite light, and you could pull it apart if you wanted to, but you could make it stronger by stitching into it and over it and creating a really little pretty bowl, which I will do by the end of this video. So watch this space. Now I'll show you the heavier weight Tyvek making a bowl. This time I've stitched some heavier pieces of Tyvek together in strips. As you can see, I've just machined them before I've textured them. And ideally you need to cut the corners off, because that will give you less pleats. So I'm just going to cut the corners off with an old pair of scissors. There used to be dressmaking scissors till my students got hold of them. So just pop the other bits to one side, because you never know when they're going to be useful. I can't throw anything away. Now, because I've layered this a little bit and stitched it, it will be a little bit stronger. So let's see what happens and how long it takes with the heavier Tyvek that's been stitched together. I'm just going to have my bowl handy so that I can quickly take the Tyvek out. I'm going to put my suede glove on again. I got them for the garden, but they're far more useful for making bowls. So I'm just literally going to start to build up the texture again. I'm kissing, stroking and caressing. I'm not foiling. So this will take a little bit longer because this is the heavier weight Tyvek. Having said that, it's now starting to move. I think you can see it's starting to pucker up. Yeah. So I'm just going to attack this bit here because it hasn't got much texture on. So if you have a bit of a plain piece of Tyvek, just give it a little bit more hot love, and then it will start to texture. But this will take a little bit longer to move because I've layered it up a little bit. I've overlapped. So you can see that that's starting to texture up quite nicely. I'm just going to turn it over and work on the bubbly side and work on the areas that haven't got quite as much texture. It can be quite difficult to control, but I think that's kind of the fun of it. It's having enough pieces painted up in stock, as it were, so that you can have enough to play with. Because we do make mistakes, we do go too far. It's quite easily done. I'm just going to start to build up the heat now. So quickly put the iron down. Do pop that in there. Oh, quick. It's just finding the middle is always fun. And then I'm going to put the little stacking bowl in there. So we've gone quite lopsided, but that's okay. So you can see the stitching there. And obviously you could do ornamental stitching. You could do all kinds of things. It's quite interesting working with different stripes of blues and golds. They tend to be my go-to colours. So again, just wait for it to cool down. And then you've got a much firmer bowl now. This is much firmer. Let's get it into the camera. Wait for the camera to focus. There we go. So we have quite a fun bowl there. Again, which can be stitched into. It can be beaded. You could add little medallions that you'd made from little circles and have them hanging down. There's all kinds of things that you can do with this. I'm going to show you how to make beads in a minute. You could also add beads. You can also stack your bowls together. This is one I made earlier in true Blue Peter style, but it's got a few holes in it because I got a little bit too heavy-handed with the kiss, stroke and caress. Come on, camera, focus. There we go. Just got to get it in the right place. So I could just pop it in there if I wanted to and make it an even firmer bowl and then stitch into it. So there are many ways of working with this. So the next time you see this, this will be stitched. And I'm looking forward to having a bit of fun with this.